Hello, everyone. This is SusanDintino, and I'd like to welcome you to Saturdays with Susan. So, we're getting the holidays off. Happy Thanksgiving a few days ago to all of you, and talking about what this time is ushering in, where we're going to be really, regardless of what type of holidays we celebrate, we're going to be getting into the hustle and bustle of this time of year. So, I want to talk about that a little bit and share with you what I have coined Nurturing Necessities. And basically, what it is it's some tips that I'm going to share with you today of ways to get self-care in. So, just kind of watching, hello, Jessica. Hello, WC. Welcome. Happy Thanksgiving. I am going to be doing mini readings. So, stay tuned for those as well. So, my little way of giving thanks and gratitude for those of you that are tuning in. So, my advice to you is to take this weekend and just get a game plan in place. And what I mean by that is, what do you want your holidays to look like? What's important to you during this time of year? Is it family? Is it friends? Is it the gifts? Is it the traditions? This morning I was really guided to write a poem. It was kind of like a quick thing. I love to write poetry, but it was a quick thing, and I just wrote a little bit about missing my husband. For those of you that might not know, I lost my husband 2 years ago. We were high school sweethearts and had been married over 40 years. So the holidays are always a mix for me. It's been 2 years, but I'm beginning to realize more and more that that has nothing to do with it. Time is not something that eases it. Maybe on some levels it does, but on other levels, all the memories come flooding back, and you realize your loved ones are not with you that you wish were with you. So I kind of really did a quick poem today, and for those of you that are fans of my Facebook page, if you take a look, you'll see it. But it really made me realize how much writing really does help me during this time of year. So that's why I am suggesting that you get a game plan in place and utilize the tool of writing. And what I mean by that is maybe sitting back and journaling a little bit about holidays past and what are your fondest memories. We want to stay away from being negative, because I know all of us have had those family gatherings that we would just as soon forget. But for this, what we're going to be doing is talking about the idea of memories that are cherished, especially if you have lost somebody. What are the memories that you have that make it really an important time of year? One of my favorite memories is when we were first married. I just decided that, of course, as newlyweds, we were going to chop down a Christmas tree. Now, for those of you that don't know my husband Dennis Dintino, okay, for those of you that don't know him, he was not at all handy. So to suggest this type of venture was really putting him in a place that he wasn't equipped to be. But we went with one of our friends and went out to a local farm where they sold these beautiful Christmas trees. You just went on the plantation and you selected the one you wanted. So we got, find one. And now when you're out there looking at all these trees, they don't look that big. You're looking at them and it's like, oh, wow, this is a nice shape. You're mostly looking for what your childhood vision is of the perfect Christmas tree. So he's got this axe, and believe me, this axe was more like a tomahawk. It was not something you should be using to chop down a Christmas tree. So he's got this, and we picked this tree, and he's eyeing it, and he's saying, Susan, I think this might be a bit big. And I'm saying, oh, it's going to work. It's perfect shape, perfect shape. So he chops it down, and I don't even want to tell you how long this took. There was snow on the ground, and he's got, like I said, this. It would probably be similar to trying to take a tree down with a nail file. That was how it was working. So he's chopping. Finally, we get the tree down. They help us attach it to the roof of the car. And at that time, we were in an apartment. And we take it back to the apartment. And guess what? It just does not fit. There's no way he can get it up the stairs to get it through the door. So now out comes his little tomahawk again. Now I will not share with you the colorful Christmas language he was using while we were going through all of this, but it was just hysterical. He finally got half of it cut off so we could fit it in the house, and again, you can see just talking about it how much my face lights up, because this is a pleasant memory. This is something that I just think of so fondly, and it really helps with me as far as the grieving goes. So just keep that in mind. If you're especially going through a challenging time right here with loved ones that you have lost, just know that there's memories out there that'll make you feel better. You're never going to stop missing that person. And I think that's been one of my biggest lessons, is that there's that void. And I know that he's with me. I know love never dies. And I can feel his spirit, but him not being here physically is challenging. So I realize now that it's always going to be a challenge, because that's the beauty of really loving somebody. You do miss them. So one of the things I want to share with you today, as far as self-care goes, is don't have any unrealistic expectations. As you're making that list of what it is that's important to you, make sure that you're keying in on happy memories, especially where a deceased loved one is involved. And again, using that writing tool. Remember, nobody's going to look at this. Each and every morning I do morning pages, which is free form writing. It's suggested by Julia Cameron in her book, The Artist's Way, which if you've never gone through that, I highly recommend The Artist's Way. That could be another thing that you could do for self-care, is purchase a really neat program like The Artist's Way and get involved in that type of thing as you're getting ready for 2019. So pleasant memories, what do you want them to look like as far as your holidays go? And then being realistic. How much time can you really put into all of this? How much time is all of this going to take? Are there ways that you can take shortcuts? So all of these things are things to consider when you're making your holiday game plan. So I just want to take a moment to say hello. We've got Jill and Mirka. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Jessica and Kayomi. Maureen. Hello, Cindy. Okay. We said that. Okay. Oh, thank you, Jessica. All right. So we've got a lot of hellos there. So as I said, I will be scrolling throughout my talk today and giving you some tips about holidays and how to get through them. And nurturing necessities is what I call the tips that I give you. And I will be posting a nurturing necessity each and every day on my Facebook fan page. If I get enough interest, I will send out emails. Right now, I haven't heard from too many people. So for now, I will tell you that each and every day, I will be posting a different nurturing necessity up on my Facebook fan page. And again, that's my name. It's a public page. If you haven't liked it yet, I'd really appreciate it if you would take a look over there and just click on the like button. And the Saturdays with Susan that I've been doing, I believe this is probably either the 4th or 5th episode. Each episode, I use it as a tool to give some insights in different topics. Cord cutting, protection techniques, things like that. I think it was the last one I did about cleansing your oracle cards. So those are all over on my YouTube station. If this is all new to you and you're new to SusanDintino, I do have all of those up there that you can take a look at. So I am going to be using my unicorn cards today. These are by Doreen Virtue and they're published by Hay House. And these will be the cards that I'll be using for my one card pull for those of you that are tuning in and would like a mini reading. And what I'll be doing is doing the readings in between talking to all of you about some nurturing necessities that I would ask you to start thinking about as you're getting ready for the holidays. So let's see, I pulled one card for everybody, so everybody tuning in got some mini reading. I decided to use the unicorn deck today because the unicorn deck just reminds me so much of our inner child. And again, as we're going through these holidays, that's what we want to get in touch with. We want to get in touch with that part of ourselves that still believes in Santa Claus, which I do. I still believe in Santa Claus. So one of my favorite things to have all over the house is the word believe. And so what is it that really brings the magic into the holidays for you? And I thought, what a fantastic deck to use to bring that. And we have share up here. So again, this is a general pull for each and every person. I try and get to everybody tuning in case I don't. This is for everybody. And as we can see, this is a beautiful unicorn with a lovely fairy sitting on the unicorn. And what the card says is, when you share, everyone feels happy. This, I think, is a perfect thing to be pulling for each and every one of you. I have a book out right now called Songs of My Life, slightly out of tune. And as the title would suggest, it's this humorous approach to all the different things I have learned throughout my life. One of the chapters is entitled, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. And this is all about the holidays, and in particular about shopping during the holidays. And in this chapter, I talk about how each and every year I would leave every hint, no demand for my husband so that he got me what it was I wanted. And it's hilarious. The whole book is very funny, and the reason I say it's funny is because it took me so long to write it that by the time it was published and I reread it, I was laughing because I had forgotten what I had said. Great, it's available up on Hay House, it's available on Amazon. That's Songs of My Life, slightly out of tune. So if you're looking for some merriment as far as reading goes, you can open it up and read any chapter, each one a different song title. But in that chapter, I talk about the one Christmas where I had really left so many hints, and he had shopped for me in 5 minutes, which he normally did, and everything was wrong. So when we look at this time of year and we think about sharing, it's very important to share. But I have a feeling that everybody that's tuning in right now is great at sharing, great at giving. When it comes to yourself, maybe not so much. So here's another little nurturing necessity that I've learned besides having a really good holiday game plan. I've learned that when I'm shopping, if there's something that I really, really want, I usually buy it for myself. Now, that might sound selfish, but I will tell you, I buy one special thing for myself every year. I have it gift wrapped. I put it under the tree. And the first time I did this, my family was, looking at this gift, no name on it. I mean, what could this possibly be? But it was something I really wanted. And I decided, you know what, I was going to gift this to myself. And I did. And each and every year I do that. I buy something for myself. This is not being selfish. When we talk about sharing and giving, we have to remember to give to ourselves. Because when we're sharing, if we share everything, guess what? There is nothing left to share. So by getting into the practice of giving to yourself, and it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. I talk in the chapter about how buying myself flowers is a big thing, because for years I'd be the hostess with the mostest, everything perfect, and I would wait for somebody to realize, gee, it would be nice to send Susan flowers, and I would wait. And see, it's not people being inconsiderate, they just don't think of it. Your expectations for the holidays could be something totally different from other people's. So the first year I actually sent myself flowers, and I wrote a note, and the note said, "Thank you, Susan, for all you do. Love, Susan." Now again, these might seem like wow, this woman is way too self-involved, but I am telling you, as somebody that loves to give, I realize that every once in a while, I have to open myself to receiving, because nobody will have the pleasure of giving if there were no people out there really leaning towards receiving. In order to have the joy of giving, you have to give to somebody that's willing to receive. And often, all of those people that I know that are wonderful givers have a hard time receiving. So, learning to give to yourself, something is making eye contact with yourself in the mirror and saying, "Boy, you look great today." That is giving to yourself. I talk about this so much, how important your self-talk is. And as you're trying to fill everybody's ideas of what it is that you should be doing, keep that in mind. Where is your self-talk? Make sure that you're giving yourself that well-deserved pat on the back of everything that you're doing to make these holidays celebratory for all the loved ones in your family. So I know we've got people that are watching. If you wouldn't mind, if you do have questions for readings or whatever, start posting now, because it makes it a lot easier for me to see those names coming up, because as you can see, I have to put my glasses on to make sure that I can see everybody. So if there's those of you, yeah, Jessica is saying that she's drawing to help herself release. You know, that is a great idea. Again, getting into doing something like that. Also, those adult coloring books. I have really gotten into doing those. I'm a big one for watching all of those saccharine Christmas movies. Whether it's Hallmark, I just discovered that Netflix has great ones as well. Another self-nurturing necessity. I watched the most delightful one yesterday called The Santa Chronicles. And if you have Netflix, I am telling you, Kurt Russell plays Santa Claus. And it's the first time that I have ever seen a hot Santa. So if you have access to Netflix, I highly recommend it. It's a delightful, magical journey with a rather different type of Santa Claus. It is so entertaining. I'm actually going to watch it again when my daughter comes in for the holidays with her. So watching those movies, again, getting in touch with that part of yourself. So drawing, coloring, anything like that. Thank you, Cindy, for your well wishes. Maureen, thank you for your condolences. Oh, and see, Kayomi is checking in before her Qigong class. Another wonderful thing. I have to tell you, I really had to push myself to do my yoga today. I did not feel like doing it. I do it every morning. And boy, today, I just didn't want to be bendy. I didn't feel like doing it. But when I got done, I was so glad that I did. So again, it doesn't have to be running a marathon if that's not your interest. But making sure you're taking care of yourself physically. I have one really good friend that runs herself ragged each and every year for the holidays, doesn't put herself in any kind of priority list. Each and every year by New Year's, she's sick in bed. And again, remember, when you're depleting, when you're putting yourself out there like that and not recharging, not taking care of yourself, getting into a Qigong class, doing some yoga, brisk walk outside, just anything just to get in touch with yourself physically, to replenish that well a little bit. So let's see. Hello, Jill. I think I did say that. So I am now, Anne, hello. Hello, Patty. So nice to see you joining me. Okay, so again, I am going right with the first one that I'm seeing. So please just know there is no rhyme or reason to this. Keep in mind, I pulled for everybody's share. So in case I don't get to you. So Anne, this card is for you. And for those of you that might be tuning in, don't have a pencil, this will be up. And what I mean is if you want to take notes, this will be up on Facebook. Usually they keep it up about 24 hours. And I immediately get it up over on my YouTube station. So if you want to rewatch the reading, even say in a week or so, you're thinking, wow, what did she say? Just know that you can tune in and get it that way. And again, I'm using the unicorn deck. And love heals fear. And this is the card that we pulled for you. I'm so glad I pulled this card because this is one of my favorite cards in the deck. Because I think this time of year, again, we get caught up with this whole idea that everything's got to be perfect. And I think it really all is based on what our holidays look like as children, what we saw our moms doing, if we're women, what we saw our dads doing. What are the expectations? Well, remember, there are two things in life: there is love, and there is fear. And we're always coming from one place or the other. So if your holidays are full of really like this whole idea of creating beautiful memories with what's important, being together, maybe reaching out to somebody that's recently lost a loved one, really coming from a place in your heart. And why I think this is so important is because each and everything that you do throughout the holidays should speak to you on a heart basis. If you're doing things out of guilt, out of, well, I should, but I don't really feel like it, like say baking cookies. Like this year, I will admit, I have never done this before. One of my famous concoctions is my dressing. And right now I'm in Western New York. I'm in Buffalo. I live in Florida now. So I came in on Monday and I'm thinking, how am I going to get this dressing done? It wasn't even so much about doing the dressing as much as getting out to buy groceries to make the dressing. And I live in the city now when I'm in Buffalo, which there's no corner store that you can just run to, okay? So I actually did the unthinkable. I ordered stuffing. I couldn't believe I did it. But I will tell you, I knew I was just doing it and because I would feel guilty if I didn't make it. I knew nobody would really care. I had had this dressing before. It was marvelous, and I didn't think twice about it because I knew if I did, I wouldn't do it. And you know what? It worked out great. It was such a relief because I came from a place of love. I knew what it was that I could do. So, Ann, this is coming to you to say to you, as you are going through your holidays, ask yourself this question. Am I coming from a place of love or am I coming from a place of fear? So thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so Mirka would like one. And again, like I said, don't be afraid to keep commenting. I'm looking at these as quickly as I can, but I don't want to lose people. So I apologize if you signed on in the beginning. Like I said, I don't see them all. So now we talked about getting a plan together is one of the things to help out, to allowing yourself to receive, to doing little things for yourself, buying yourself flowers. Maybe you have a special candle that you love the aroma. I think it's great if you can have a live tree, but so many people now don't. So getting a beautiful scented balsam pine candle that takes you back to those years of that smell of the pine from your tree and just really making you feel good. So getting something like an aromatic candle and then just lighting it each and every night and allowing yourself to just breathe. A great tip also is to remember to breathe. And we're going to be talking about that right after I do. And Mirka, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Let's see what card comes up for you from the Magical Unicorn deck. Best friends. I love the way these cards are working because it's making my talk today much easier. Here's a wonderful trick you can do to take care of yourself, and that's to reach out to your friends. Really allowing yourself to take some time. If you have friends that are a distance, which I do, most of my best friends live across the country, as far away as in California, Denver, all over the place. And what a wonderful idea to stay connected to them in some way. Again, I know sending out Christmas cards has become passé. I have a few people that I really do like to reach out to with the written word. And again, I think it's being a writer. I really feel like I want to reach out to them. But this is coming in for you, Mirka, to just really remember that there are people there that care. I feel like there's times that you might feel you don't get the support that you would like. And I feel like just this big hug, that you're looking for a hug and really knowing there are people out there that appreciate you for what you do. And what I'm also seeing around you, I'm seeing some not issues, but I'm just being guided to talk to you about the throat chakra. This is our center of speaking our truth. Why I think this is coming in as I'm looking at this card, because I think too this is about making best friends with yourself. I think this is also coming in to remind you that your words and your feelings need to be expressed, that speaking your truth is a right that you have. So keep that in mind when you want want to say no. Going back to that love versus fear card, you should always be coming from a place of love. So when you say yes to something, again, now I know right away people say, oh my gosh, I've got obligations. There's things I have to do. I understand that. We all have those obligations. So I'm not saying that you should say no to things that are really things that you can't say no to. But when you have a valid choice, when it's maybe being asked to do one more thing at your children's school or one more volunteer that you just don't have time to do, one more volunteer activity, be comfortable saying no. Remember, no is a complete sentence. And like I said, I'm jamming all of this into this hour we're together of these necessities that I call nurturing necessities. Each and every day I'll be putting those up on my Facebook page. So I think this is about you reaching out for some friends, knowing that speaking your truth is your right. This has nothing to do with the fact that you don't tell the truth. It has to do with feeling comfortable expressing your feelings. And Mirka, I think it's time for somebody to give you a nice big hug. So let's keep that in mind. So Lynn's coming and she would love a mini reading. So moving this on. So there are just, like I say, some of the tips that we have here. And again, if you're just tuning in now, what I've been doing is sprinkling these readings in while I talk about getting in self-care during this time of year. How important it is that you replenish that energetic well that you're drawing from to really take care of everybody else. So we're going to be talking about that today and in also doing readings. So let's see, Lynn, what card comes up for you. Brothers and sisters. So I think, again, if I was really like pulling these cards that I selected, they couldn't be any more spot on. I'm going to interpret this, Lynn, as literal brothers and sisters, but I think this is speaking about the whole family. What this card is really reminding us all is about getting along with one another. And I think just coming after Thanksgiving, I've already started hearing some stories from my clients of things that did not go as they had hoped. One of the things that I have learned to really assist, again, going back to speaking your truth, when things come up that hurt your feelings, when things come up that you wish somebody would have said to you in a different way, especially a family member, the first thing I advise to do is you never want to knee-jerk what it is you're going to say. I think it's one of the problems with texting is that when you text, number one, it can be so quick that you don't have an opportunity to really step back and realize even what you're saying. Say one of your relatives, family members reaches out to you, says something that you really, kind of pushes a button with you. And now you're firing off the text. And before you know it, you get in an argument. What I really suggest you do before you text is take a step back and think about what you're going to say. One of the biggest things with text going back and forth, and I'm hoping this makes sense to you, Lynn, because I'm just getting this information, so I'm just feeling this has something to do with maybe an argument, forgiveness, something in there. When you get a text that pushes your button, take a moment to just think, you know what? Where was this person coming from when they sent me this text? Maybe I'm taking it the wrong way. Maybe they didn't mean it the way it's coming across. So again, this is so much about you taking the time. Really, me being somebody that always backed down for the sake of peace, which I think is a beautiful way to be. Blessed are the peacemakers, right? But what I found with myself is that I would back down, and then something that would be really tiny and rather insignificant would happen, and I would be explosive. And I realized it was because maybe at that first time when it was something that I should have spoke to. Not again, you don't have to be nasty. It doesn't have to be argumentative. Simply saying that hurt my feelings. That hurt my feelings. And right away, people, when it's happened to me, have been very surprised. Oh, that was, certainly I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I didn't realize this was a sore subject. It's taking the time. Remember that forgiveness, too, is releasing you, not the other person. One of my favorite quotes is, being unforgiving is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And I can't credit the quote because I don't know where it's from. But again, this is all about releasing and letting go. So Lynn, if this resonates with you, and it could be a friend that was very close or whatever, I think this is asking for a reconnection. And it could be something that maybe just somebody that's kind of been off your radar for a while. I feel like there's somebody that's asking you to come back in and reach out to them, and these beautiful unicorns that we have together. So Lynn, thank you so much for tuning in. And now Leona, let's just see. I move this up. Okay. So taking care of ourselves can really manifest in all different ways. I mentioned a few that are very physical, as far as buying yourself flowers, buying yourself little gifts. It's also taking the time for yourself. And as I said, I have a morning, really, I'll call it a ritual that I do each and every day. I take off on Sundays. On Sundays, I like to luxuriate. I actually will make myself breakfast and serve it to myself in bed, because Sundays I really respect as my sacred day to totally replenish. But every other day, I begin my day with meditating. Then I will take some time to do my morning pages. That's 3 pages, free stream writing. I do that. And then I read from one of my favorite magazines. It's a Science of Mind magazine. Each and every day there's a little like reading that you can do. And my gosh, this month they've been so spot on with creating, with how your thoughts are creative. So I do that, and then I do yoga. This is all before I go down for my breakfast or anything. And I really try and respect that and keep that going regardless of how busy I am, even when I'm traveling, because it is part of the way I have found that it's really a great way to start my day. So that's the thing, taking the time for you. And I will get this. I teach meditation. By the way, if you're interested there's a chakra clearing free guided meditation on my website. All of my services, if you're looking for a reading, a gift certificate, are on my website at SusanDintino. That's DINTINO.com. So again, it's taking that time for yourself. Watch where your shoulders are. Is it time for a breath break? If you're working full time and you're sitting at your desk and you're feeling like and you're not breathing, take some time, go outside, go out, get out of your office. And even if you don't have the luxury of being able to exit the building, just go someplace where you'll be alone and just take a couple minutes to do a nice deep breath break and let everything go. Some of the smartwatches have actually got a little app that you can do, which is called Breathe. I know on my Apple Watch there's something that every once in a while, it usually comes up when I'm flying, because I'm sure it can sense, when the bouncing starts in the plane, I get the reminder to breathe. So there's even apps that you can use. There's an app for that. So beautiful card for you, Leona. Relax. Everything's going to be okay. So when we're talking about the holidays, I think this should be your mantra. Again, so often we think that we've got to be Martha Stewart perfect. And as I said about the dressing, if you're a baker and that's where you get your joy is baking, and you dread gift wrapping, how about getting some gift bags instead of worrying about wrapping everything perfectly? And that is one thing that I realized years ago. It was like, again, one of those aha moments, was that I was stressing about all of these things that were going to get done. One way or the other, these things were going to get done. Christmas morning, all the shopping would be done. Everything would be wrapped. Everything would be planned. So why be stressing I wasn't going to get it all done weeks before, when one way or the other it will be done? I had somebody ask me like over Thanksgiving if I was all set for the holidays, and I thought, wow, I think I've got 2 gifts. I haven't even thought about it. My family is getting older, and more I'm beginning to realize that they really appreciate the financial gifts, which will probably be the way I go this year, because that's what they want, and I'd rather see them be happy buying something for themselves. If I find something that I really like, and feel they're really going to enjoy. I do it during the year. If there's a specific book I think they might really like, I'll send it to them, or different things. I love to buy gifts when I know the exact right thing to get. Not so happy about buying things when I'm searching for the right thing to get. So again, going back to that love versus fear. Buying and coming from a place of love. And putting yourself in some incredible debt because you're trying to please. And I know if you've got little ones that believe in Santa, that it's a whole different situation. But there's ways to really make sure that you're not overextending yourself. So this is for you. Relax. Everything's okay, Leona. Okay. Okay, so I don't want to, let's see. Okay, so we've got Jessica. See, I'm keeping really good track of all of that. I thought I dropped a card. So let's see what card comes up for you, Jessica. So I'd love to know if you are in the chat room and want to share some of your ideas of things that you have found that helps you during the holidays. I will be scrolling through the comments and I'll share them with our listeners, people that are tuning in. Just a reminder that I have radio shows, The Night Shift, which is on every Tuesday evening at 7 to 8, which I will be talking about that Nurturing Necessities this week, as well as on the Empower Hour. Again, all the information for both of those shows. The Empower Hour is on inflowradio.com and both internet shows. The Night Shift is up on w4cyradio.com. And all of my past shows are up there as well. So, believe in yourself, Jessica. Time to spread our wings. So as much as we're talking about the stress of the holidays and getting through the holidays, we're also entering the last days of 2018 and getting ready for 2019. And I'm one that doesn't really believe so much in setting a specific intention. I think each and every day when we wake up, we set an intention as to how we want our day to go. What does it look like? What thoughts are we putting out there? And again, this is where I feel the self-talk is so important. What's out there? So this card coming in, Believe in Yourself, Jessica, I feel is a really strong hit for you in the coming year. It was interesting because Science of Mind is a philosophy that was developed by Ernest Holmes in the 40s, I think, 1940s or whatever. There's actually churches that are around this philosophy, but it's again a way of life similar to like the law of attraction. It has a lot of similarities between the law of attraction, Science of Mind. And this magazine this month was so spot on because right now I have a deck of cards that I have submitted for publication, and I am affirming each and every day these cards get published because I really am excited about getting all of this out to all of you, and it's a really interesting topic. And I'm not talking about it at all because I just want to just keep all of my energy focused on getting it published. But each and every day I begin my day with a prayer of gratitude that those cards have been accepted to be published, even though that hasn't occurred. And again, there's that beautiful word I love for this time of year, believe in yourself. So Jessica, I feel like it's got something to do with what's going on now, but even more so about next year. There's some projects you're going to be thinking about doing that you might be holding back, and this card is coming in to say yes you can. So believe in yourself. So Mirka is saying sharing is loving and caring. Yes, it is. And again, Mirka saying it's a beautiful gift to show your self-love and that it is very important. Yes, exactly. It's just really, okay, so we've got Marlene now. See, again, I think that there's so many, and again, I keep on saying women because I find this, I'm most familiar with women, let's put it this way, but I also find this to be really true, where women have a problem giving to themselves, that it's all about the whole self-sacrificing at everybody else's altar. And so often, again, in my practice, when I'm doing readings for women, and maybe they're in a relationship and they're blaming their significant other for not making them happy, to the point that they might even be thinking about terminating the relationship. And often in those cases, the more we talk, the more I'll find that it's a void within themselves, because they're not giving to themselves. And because they're not giving to themselves, they're looking to somebody else to give to them. And just like the example I used, my husband, God bless him, was a workaholic. So he worked pretty much 24/7. And when he would go Christmas shopping, it was a 2-hour span on Christmas Eve. That was it. And so each year I'd be so disappointed. But see, it wasn't in his DNA. That's one of the beautiful things about getting older. You really start accepting people for who they are and not expecting them to change. And we grew together in that way, where I just realized, if I really wanted something, it was better, again, if I had the finances to take care of it myself. It wasn't worth it trying to get upset because he wasn't fulfilling a need that I had. And when you are self-sacrificing and don't really allow yourself to receive gifts that you can give yourself, that's when you start having issues with other people, because you're feeling like they should be supplying that for you. So keep that in mind. It's not about being selfish. It's about being self-loving. So let me get this card pulled for you, Marlene. Let go of stress. So here we have you, Marlene, the beautiful princess, and you are riding on your unicorn, and you're being really invited to let go of stress. Breathe and let it go. Such a strong message for us this time of year. People that really just dread this time of year because of all of the stress involved. How sad. I know there's people that can't stand Christmas carols playing because all it does is bring up ideas of all of the things that they haven't accomplished, all of the things that they haven't done. So again, if you missed the very beginning of the talk, I really highly suggest you take some time to do some writing about what your holidays would look like. Just by putting pen to paper. If you had a magic wand and could create the holiday of your dreams, what would they look like? And see, that's the beginning of manifesting that. If your dream is everybody's going to sit around your holiday dinner and nobody's going to argue, it's a beautiful thing to do. I have a house blessing meditation I gave away a few years ago. Right now it's up on Insight Timer. I'm going to really see if I can maybe revamp that and put that up on my website. Because basically what you do is you do a meditation where you put a ball of light, and I always like to use the color of fuchsia. As you can tell, I'm kind of a pink gal. So I would use the color fuchsia, put it at the heart of your home, whatever you consider your home, the heart of your home. Like for me, it was right in the middle of the kitchen. And what you do is you expand that ball. This is a visualization. And as it's expanding, you're including each room that it expands to in this brilliant light of love. And what the theory is by time you expand it out, and I would usually take it all the way out in front of my house. Sometimes I would take it all the way out to the neighborhood. But if I was entertaining, I would use it to just take it out to the very front of the house, the driveway. And then my intention would be that each person that passed through that bubble of love would feel it and would be in a marvelous mood when they came in the house. And I am telling you, it works. It works. You might not have a totally stress-free time, but it lessens it. Again, it's setting an intention. How many times when we know people in our family don't get along, do we start thinking about it? And in some respects, we're feeding it. So letting go of stress, Marlene, great message. Just release and let it go. I really feel that this is speaking to you. That bubble of light, I think, will be a great tool for you to use. And again, remember, if you're somewhere that you can't take notes on this, it'll all be up And I am going to really see if I can get that meditation up. It might be available on my website for purchase, House Blessing. But I know if you belong to Insight Timer, it is up on Insight Timer. Which is a meditation app that's available. I think there is a free version, but I'm not sure. I've had it forever, so I don't know. So Marlene, thank you so much for tuning in. Hello, Abby. Okay, so we got WC. Let's see. So there are so many different tools that you can use that are going to make your holidays be as celebratory as possible. And when you begin to realize how short life is, and that when I think of when we were first married, and I have 3 daughters, and they were all little, and we go to my mother-in-law's house for Christmas dinner, and my mother-in-law was the most amazing cook. Absolutely, just she would begin with homemade raviolis. That would be our first course, and then would come out the turkey. And I don't know what she did to this turkey, but I will tell you, to this day, I have never had a turkey that tasted as good as my mother-in-law's. And when I think of everybody sitting around the table, my husband and his brothers and my mother and father-in-law and his grandfather, and how many of those people aren't with us anymore? I mean, my husband, both his parents, his grandfather, one of his brothers. It's so funny because the sun is just coming out. As you can see, we've got a bit of clouds here. So the sun is coming out as I'm talking about this. I'm kind of getting a little bit choked up here. But all of the people there. And now, like I said, the house has been sold. I mean, there's not that family gathering anymore. We've worked on creating new traditions, but how often we don't appreciate the ones that we have. So here's another nurturing necessity: to stay in the present. Stay in the present at your gatherings. Take some time. One of the things that I like to do is I've started doing this for birthdays that I found was really a fun thing to do, and I just came up with this idea. And it's also a beautiful thing to do around New Year's, where what you do is if you're at a gathering and you're toasting, like what I like to do, like for birthdays or for the New Year's, is great. Like for a birthday, I wish for you. If you had one wish that you could grant the birthday person, what would that wish be? If you could wish for somebody that is celebrating New Year, or your own wish for the New Year, what would that wish be? What would it look like? Remembering that you've got the magic, and remembering that you can definitely do this. So let's see again. So here's the best friends card coming up for you. And again, when we have these repetition, I always feel it's because this is really a strong message for not only the people I'm reading, but also the people that are tuning in, listening. And keep in mind, if you listen to this as the replay or over on YouTube, and I'm pulling cards and you're thinking, oh, I wish I would have been live with Susan. These cards, if they resonate with you, I am reading you. This really is something that I believe I just get out of the way. There's beautiful divine beings up there, whether you believe in it's the angels, whether you believe in it's the ascended masters, your spirit guides, whatever it is that you believe in, there are just so many beautiful beings of light that are trying to get these messages to you. So if you're listening to the replay, it's just as significant. So I think this has come up for you because, again, it's time for you to connect with your friends. Sometimes our best friends are like our selected family. They are like the people that we really feel the most comfortable with, that really can accept us as we are. And often during the holidays, we get so busy with family that we might not have an opportunity to let our friends know how much they mean to us. So again, as simple as a nice text, an e-card, something along those lines to let them know. So WC, I believe this card is coming in to let you know that there are certainly people out there, friends and family members that are like friends. I feel like you've got a whole plethora of BFFs out there that just want you to know they want to spend some time with you. So thank you for tuning in. Just excuse me 1 minute. Okay, I'm lowering those blinds because I think that sun coming in was bothering us all. So, okay, so Diane's the next one. So, let's see. Get a little bit of water here. Believe in yourself. So again, the second time this card has been pulled, I feel this is for each and every one of you out there, especially for you, Diane. I feel that this card is coming up. Diana, I want to make sure I get your right name. This card is coming up again. I feel this is the same as the last person that pulled this card. This has to do with a project that you might be putting on hold because you don't feel that the timing's right. I see procrastination, and I'm just feeling this really strongly that it's time for you towards the end of this year to set a strong intention for where you want to see this project going next year. This could be something as simple as you really being involved in a hobby, something that you're thinking about getting involved in, and you just feel that you don't have the time. This is so much about you realizing that yes, you do have the time and taking that time for yourself. Believe in yourself. When you look in the mirror, say, I believe in you, and make eye contact with yourself. I believe in you. I think that's the most powerful message that we can give ourselves. I believe in you. I approve of you, and I love you. That's where you want to get ultimately to your self-talk. You want to get to the place where you're making eye contact with yourself and saying, I love you. I love you. So, believe in yourself, Diana. Beautiful magic happening around you. So Jessica, who tuned in right in the beginning, has been waiting patiently. So thank you so much, everybody, for reposting. And if you do get a reading, what happens is as I start going on that I don't remember if I did or didn't, just make sure that I'm not reading you twice if I already pulled a card for you, because as I said, often people will come up to me and say, oh my gosh, your reading was so spot on. I don't even remember these readings. I just feel it's my duty to just get out of the way and get the message to you that's meant for you. And again, those of you that are tuning in that these messages relate to after the show is over, know that they are very valuable to you as well. You don't have to be with me live. So let's see what card we have. True. So, Jessica, this card is saying, yes, what you're asking about is true. So, what does this mean? I think this has so much to do, again, with everything that this show, I guess Facebook Live, maybe show is too strong of a word for it. But I think that what this really time together is emphasizing is so much about what we are giving to ourselves, especially with what we believe about ourselves. So this is a very interesting card to come in, but I'm going to interpret this true card as also being another way to say believe. I think, again, that this is so much, Jessica, about you believing in yourself, about you knowing. There also might be something that you're considering doing, and this is coming in right now, that you're considering doing, that again, just these projects that I'm seeing around so many of you, it's true that you can make this happen. It is true that you can make this happen. So if you've had naysayers around you or people that have been discouraging you from taking this next step, I feel it's got something to do with a career, job, something like that. Just know that your belief in this, that you believing that you can make this happen, is true for you. So the magic is there. Trust that and know that you can make this happen. Thank you so much for joining me. We've got rain and we've got, I'm just looking out to see if there's a rainbow out there. Okay, so let's pull a card for Anne. So looking out my window, I've got a beautiful, I'm on the 16th floor. My condo is on the 16th floor. This was my husband's prized purchase, and he wanted to be closer to work. So hello, Emma. Thank you so much for joining us. Finish what you started. So this is so spot on. Again, with everything that we're talking about, with these projects and everything that we're talking about. So I'm repeating it because, boy, this is just like so coming in as we're talking about this whole idea of projects that aren't being brought to fruition because we don't believe in ourselves. We don't feel that we have the time. We don't really give ourselves the credit that we deserve. This is just saying, I think 2019 is so much about making magic happen. Everybody figured that there was going to be this huge shift after 2012. We all waited for that dynamic date to hit. And I definitely felt a slight change. But I would be lying to say that since that date, it's been a slow uphill climb. So it's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. So it took me forever to submit my deck, and I had been working on it literally for years. I finally gave myself a deadline and said, okay, this is it. You are submitting by this date, and I just did it. So I felt that push. I feel 2019, we're still going to be feeling maybe a bit of a drag as far as our accomplishments are concerned, but we're going to be making much greater headway in moving forward. And I think that's what these cards are coming in to tell us. So the big thing is, even if it's baby steps, to keep moving forward, and just know little bit, just have the confidence in yourself and know that you can make this happen. I think 2020 is going to be the year where we're going to have that whole cycle that began in 2012 come to fruition for so many of us. So thank you so much for tuning in, and wonderful card. It's all about finishing what we've started. Okay, so hello, Emma. Okay. So I'm going to pull a card for Cindy. So again, I'm scrolling here. I'm doing the best I can. I'm probably, W.C. Yepers, he'd be a hot Santa, no doubt. God, if you just tuned in, I was talking about Kurt Russell playing Santa in the Christmas Chronicles that's on Netflix. And yes, there's just something about him I adore. I love everything he does. My husband was a huge fan of that the one movie he did, Miracle. My husband loved all those kind of movies. I don't even want to tell you how many times we watched Hoosiers. He watched that. I swear he had it on some kind of replay. Okay, so, oh, wow. Cindy, here's for you. Believe in yourself. So the third time I've pulled this card, each and every one of you tuning in know that this is meant not only for Cindy, but for all of you. And I think that's going to be the huge takeaway from this Facebook Live. This is so much about you believing in yourself. You taking the time to really acknowledge how important you are, the difference you make on this planet, that each and every one of you are a one and only you. I mean, I'm actually quoting now from my children's book, A Year of Me, because each you are. There's nobody out there that is exactly like you with your talents and what it is that you have to bring to the world. So Cindy, I think sometimes I feel, again, this has to do with life purpose. I think for so many people out there, we're feeling so pulled that we should be making these monumental changes. It can be as simple as a smile, especially this time of year where there are so many people that are, trying to get everything, 25 hours worth of stuff done in 24 hours. So we get the short temper, the beeping of the horns, the shoving at the stores. People need to just take a step back. I'll sometimes get the most incredible reactions when I see somebody that it's almost like they have one of those dark clouds over their heads, and I see them, and it's like, just smile. And I just smile at them, and they'll look at me a little bit quizzically, and in all honesty, sometimes I don't get a return smile, but more often than not, I'll get that return smile, and somehow I feel in my heart that I'm saying, I see you. I love that line from Avatar, the movie Avatar. I see you. I think so much of the time we don't see each other, be it our friends, be it our families that might be going through different challenges, and we've got our own challenges, and we don't take the time to see the other person. So believe in yourself, Cindy, and thank you so much for tuning in. All right, let me just scroll here and just see. Lots of comments here, so okay, so Angela, it's your birthday. Happy. I actually scrolled all the way to the end. Angela, happy birthday. And Cindy saying that card was perfect. So, Angela, I am going to pull a card for you, and I am going to end with that. I hope I got to each and every one of you. Please let me know the next time you tune in if I didn't. Again, there's no rhyme or reason. I do all of this myself, so trying to multitask with this sometimes can be a challenge, and I certainly do my best to get as many of you in. But that's why, remember, that first card I pulled for everybody was share, and most importantly, to remember to share with yourself. So, brothers and sisters, another card that I pulled before. I just think that, again, as we're talking about believing in ourselves and taking the time for ourselves, the other big theme of this Facebook Live has been to really make sure that we're valuing our families, that we're, again, connecting with one another, that we're releasing. One of the things as well, my 10-year span of really one challenge after another happened when I lost my brother. My younger brother, unexpectedly, he had been sick a very short amount of time and passed. And I really thought, wow, this is really something that I will never, it's just one of those experiences like, wow. And so many times I look back to our childhood together, to all of the time that we spent together. And as adults, I wish I would have made more time for him. Often on the holidays, we weren't together. And again, sometimes that's necessary due to distance, due to different things. But with the beauty of Facebook Live, well, not Facebook Live, okay, now like Skyping, I'm thinking of the iPhone where you FaceTime. With the beauty of FaceTime, you can be with one another as close to physically as possible. Make sure you're making time for your family. So Angela, just a beautiful way to celebrate your birthday. I see a very positive 2020 for you. I think so much about believing yourself and really allowing yourself to give to yourself. Make sure today you do something special for you. That's another day I've learned to celebrate no matter where I am is my birthday. I don't care how many candles I'm chalking up on that cake. I always take the time to celebrate. I believe your birthday is the day you brought your light to the world, and the world is grateful that you're here. So thank you so much for tuning in today for Saturdays with Susan. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm grateful for each and every one of you that like my posts, that visit my page, that listen out to my radio shows and join me on these Facebook Lives. I appreciate all of you. I'm very grateful for all of you. Enjoy this weekend. Take some time for yourself. Get your holiday plans written out, and just know that it's a time of love and a time of celebration. I wish you all the best this week and throughout the holiday season. I will be back. I'm traveling a bit in here, so not exactly sure the next Saturday, but you can rest assured I'll be joining you before Christmas. So wonderful being with you, and thanks again. Have a great day.